Omo, e don burst o. Governor Monday Okphebolo of Edo State don finally restore respect to the palace of the Oba of Benin. My people no be small thing dey happen o. As I talk to the right now, $18 million wey they say they spend, the government say they go probe am to ensure say the previous government led by Godwin Obaseki must give account of how they take spend the money, because the land wey they even dey claim say they buy, they didn't buy it. The fee was even written off. So how did they spend the $18 million? Now, let me take you guys down memory lane. In the year 1897, about 1,200 British soldiers invaded the Benin Kingdom that was led by a revered and well-respected monarch known as Oba Ovorame. Now, this is coming after previous years. Around 1892, a treaty was signed by the Benin Kingdom and the British government, trying to see how they can have a cordial relationship, especially when it comes to trade and the movement of goods and services. And inside that particular treaty, the Oba of Benin sensed that this was an attempt for the British government to take over his kingdom, and as such, he gave that treaty no respect. After the British government were looking for ways for them to gain access to the kingdom, they decided to force themselves into the kingdom at a time where the Benin Kingdom was having a festival, and as such were not ready to receive strangers in the land. That gave birth to what happened in 1897, when a particular British commission officer called Sir Harry Rawson decided to lead 1,200 of the British forces to ransack and plow through the streets of the Benin Kingdom. And during the process of them disposing the Oba of Benin, Oba Ovorame, they did something that was an eyesore in the eyes of the Edo people. They stole the artifacts. They stole the handcrafted gifts that God gave to the Benin people. They stole the historical values and image that represented what the Edo people went through. In such, they took most of the bronze work, the elephant tusk, and every cultural artifact that meant so well to the Edo people, and they took them out of the country. Years later, one of the descendants of the Oba took over the throne, and I'm talking about the current Oba of Benin Kingdom, Oba Ewaye II. And despite the fact that he was sitting on the throne of his forefathers, he ensured that the legacy that they left behind will be restored in the Kingdom of Benin. And as such, he led for the movement of the repatriation of those original artifacts wherever they are in the world. And during this discussion, the idea of creating a museum was established. And the museum at first was named the Edo Royal Museum, probably under a tag name of Emoa. In 2023, when the heat of that discussion began to evolve, the Nigerian government gave the Oba of Benin the right as the custodian and protector of these artifacts whenever or should they be returned back into the country. And as such, when everybody thought that the former governor of Edo State was going to help the palace to preserve these artifacts and leave them under the control of the palace, we were surprised when we discovered that it was no longer a MOA, but the name was changed to Museum of West African Art, MOA. Everybody was surprised. We didn't understand what was happening between the government and the palace, and there were different speculations and rumors about a disrespect that was coming from the Obaseki-led government. It was later we got to know that some donors and some persons donated money in such a way that this museum will be crafted to preserve West African art. Just when the palace thought that the main reason they brought the idea was what the state government was establishing, it became a surprise when they discovered that the state government was a joint partner in owning that particular museum. In fact, it is said that the persons who decided to donate to the museum were described as partners. When this current government came into power, led by Governor Monday Okphebolo, he decided to constitute a committee led by the former governor, Governor Adams Ali Oshomole, and some other persons to actually investigate and find out what was happening. Don't forget, on the 9th of November 2025, while there was a private opening for partners in what some people also describe as a caricature opening of the museum, some persons came into the museum and drove out even the ambassadors and visitors that were present, because they felt that this was not the original idea of the museum. The museum was supposed to be owned by the Edo family, the Edo people, the royal family, to showcase the arts that were returned or the arts that were stolen by the British Empire and every other sector of the foreign bodies while they invaded the Edo people. Now, it came as a surprise that some persons decided to treat the museum as a private museum with the state government having little or no stake in it. Now, with this committee where don't come as led by the former governor now, they don't come to let people know, say, if you contributed to the development of that particular museum, understand that it was a donation. The palace cannot, for the second time, leave its artifact under a supposed partnership with foreign bodies. And as such, the government, the committee have recommended that the museum should be handed over to the palace, because most of these artifacts were taken from the palace as well as the Edo or the Benin Empire as at then. So who better is supposed to be a custodian of those artifacts, if not the Oba as well as the Benin Royal family, and administer the way that particular museum will be run? After all, if you are investing into anybody's culture, you should ensure that the people who are custodians of the culture are actively involved. And that is what Gov Monday Okphebolo has finally done. And recommendations has been made for the MOA to be changed back to the MOA, or to be changed back to a name that reflects the Benin people, then handed over to the royal family. In one of his speech, the former governor of Edo State, Governor st0len, said that $18 million was said to be used in the development of this particular presumed MOA.
Whereas they claim, this is very important, they claim to have spent 18 million, the word is over $18 million donated by various donors. Quote, they purport to have used this money first to acquire land. Now, from the record, we saw that having applied for the land, which was granted by your predecessor, and a CFO issued in favor of a MOA, they subsequently applied to your predecessor to waive the fees. And that application was approved within 48 hours. So no kobo was paid for the acquisition of that land. And yet they claim to have spent over $18 million for land acquisition, among others. No kobo was paid for the land.
When the land where this particular museum was being built on was actually that of an hospital that was demolished. The hospital itself has historical value because of how long it was built, and they demolished it. They gave C of O to this said MOA and their partners, and at the end of the day, it looks as if we were depriving ourselves from health infrastructures and looking towards having a museum without the palace playing an active role in it. But Governor Monday Okphebolo has corrected that. Once more, I want to say a very good pass mark to the governor. What you have done has restored confidence to the true Edo people and, of course, the palace. The Benin Kingdom is a kingdom that is respected worldwide. And if we ourselves do not ensure that that respect and honor remains, then what are we as people from that same palace where our roots are embedded in? Once more, I want to say kudos to the governor. Baba, if now this one now you do, it means say you be man of the people and you listening well. But that $18 million, when they say for me say they take buy land and land they no buy, more na investigate more know where this money go. Now what you want to talk?